that sound again. Unplannable, unprogrammable, unnavigable, and as stable as a bottle of nitroglycerin on a stagecoach heading west through what used to be the Nevada territory. We are coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. Times change.
And they do.
Yes, they do. I've got our entire panel over here. We're going to start at the end where we've got Jen, our famous hairdresser from Mode Salon over in Aliante.
Great salon.
We've got our guest in the middle. I will wait for just a moment on that. Over here in the cap, another one of our usual cast of characters, Charlie Chelli. I myself am Chris Kaggs. And
our favorite DJ.
Oh, thank you so much.
He actually is my favorite.
And we love Rebecca's here today. We're so excited to bring
and
you.
there it's out. We've got Rebecca with us.
Oh,
no, Jen, please tell us about Rebecca right now a little bit. Introduce her, get her going here.
Oh, Rebecca is fabulous. I've known her for almost a year, I think now.
Really?
Many Vegas parties. Super happy and excited to be around. And she is for women in business, which is super important to me, being a woman business owner, and even more specifically to show women in the cannabis business.
Absolutely. Very important.
Double whammy there.
And she does a great job, man. And her partner's also coming on the show later. And what do you want to talk about today?
No, I'm excited to be here. I love supporting women, and it's been hard this last year, putting a lot of things, especially events, on pause. But we're here to educate, empower, connect, and inspire other women.
Yeah, they need it. This world's still a little behind, yeah. Huh?
Just a little
bit.
It'll catch up. I have faith.
And what's that side project? Your other, not side, but your other project that you head up?
So I have a few different projects. I've been an anti-gravity fitness instructor for almost a decade now, so I teach aerial yoga.
Oh, you have to see her pictures. Oh my gosh, you have to go to her Instagram and see her hanging from these it's like a swing.
Bat,
yeah, it's so
place.
cool.
I mean,
are they Jumby's aerial silks?
No, I have played on his before. The tension on his are different. He has two separate aerial silks that he printed on. I'm an anti-gravity fitness instructor, so I use a single silk that has give side to side, so you can stretch out, but no up and down give, or else you would bump when you go to hang upside down and do gentle inversions. So I do more therapy.
Yeah, that would
help.
Yeah, no, it's
it's amazing for your back. Like if you have any back problems at all, inversion is the way to go.
But like pink though, right? With that kind of stuff, pink.
All pink. I actually do have a pink hammock.
No, I mean the rock singer.
I know.
No.
Pink does chandelier pose while she's upside down. She doesn't miss a beat. During the aerial training, they taught us what some of the celebrities actually did during these moments, because they have reached out to anti-gravity fitness, used the fabric, used the actual moves and structure in their performances, and they sing and fly across the stage in those silks.
And
you have this set up in your house? Like you go silking around your house?
I used to, yes.
That's Jen's house.
I actually did. I had a move recently, so it was hard to take it down, but I had it in my backyard, so it was like coffee and inversions, and then the day could start.
And that would explain how you did the perfect split on the front of my boat.
Okay. I want to hear about this. What do you mean another time? How many more times do you think you're coming on the show?
Yeah.
Is there enough room for me to do that here? Can I?
We will make it. Charlie, get up out of your chair. Get moving. We need room.
Everything I ask,
this thing? What's this thing with the cables in it for?
I don't know, but everything gets negative.
Put it in the corner.
We tried a hair salon. We wanted a midget juggler. Nothing's really working out.
Dude, hold on.
Little people.
Wait a minute. No, it's not even that. It's not the fact that he used. Are we supposed to say the M word now? Right? But I mean.
Isn't that the proper name?
No, it's not anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
we're supposed to call them little people. That's what they prefer to be called.
Right.
I personally
they should put that memo out.
You know what?
Change the vocabulary.
My perspective, our perspective doesn't matter. Right? It doesn't matter. I was like about to say, well, how do I know what it would be like, and what would I want to be called if I was a little person?
Stump.
Formerly known as a midget.
You'd want to be called Stump.
You would call me Stump?
Absolutely. Yeah, chip off the old block. So, it is great to have you here, and she's a wonderful supporter of the cannabis industry here, and we wanted to get Jen.
How many little people in the cannabis industry?
About 4.
Really?
That equals 2.
So I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm also a healthcare professional. They teach us people first language, and when you're not sure, just ask. People will tell you what they want to be called.
Oh, I like it.
And you know,
there you go.
I get called the things that we can't say on the mic.
So I apologize. I may have called you that too. It's okay.
Oh, sorry. All right.
Oh yeah. Wait until our the edits, the outtakes comes out when we have an outtake tape.
I had midgets working for me though before I went to prison way back when. I even took one home as an English butler one weekend into New York.
Yeah.
Like I saw that at that time. That was
helping.
You know what? Let's get to our very, very important question. What were you doing a year ago, Rebecca? We need to know.
A year ago.
1 year ago.
Oh my goodness.
That is the important question.
Mm-hmm.
I do
Good
have
job,
an answer.
Thank you, Jen.
Let's hear it. What do you got?
So a year ago, Bri and I were planning an event for Women Grow. We were actually hosting a cannabis community series. We were renting out Claire B&B. We did a different.
Claire?
Do you ever hear of Claire B&B?
Like the name Claire and then B&B?
Kind of.
Oh
better.
no, I heard it was like Airbnb. I think.
So this woman Claire set up a hotel rental situation. She was a photo shoot. She was a model, and a lot of people were busy building her sets and scenes that she was posing in, and she was empowered to create something that she would want to model in. So we found a really lovely venue where each room was decorated very uniquely, different colors, vibes, textures, energies, and we reserved it for 24 hours. So Bri and I, we reached out to different brands, and instead of doing our usual signature networking event with Women Grow, as a cannabis community series, we booked out private photo shoots during the day. We had a networking at night. We had an after party. Some of our larger sponsors got to sleep over. So we reserved
Hell yeah.
this huge
Well, I'm
facility.
jealous. That's
And
amazing.
Well,
I get to go to the next one.
Where is the Claire B&B now?
Claire B&B.
Let's go there later.
I think, unfortunately, I looked them up recently because I would have loved to have stayed as a local.
And they
trying to
provide the
give that.
aerial silks you require?
No, they do not. But
How about the midgets?
they're not currently.
I mean, right, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. You like that one? That was good. No, come on. You got to admit, I got to.
So a lot of businesses have truly been suffering with COVID. I didn't see any activity recently of anything recent on their profile, which made me sad because the whole point was to, bring business to other women, and we were able to do a really unique collab with a photographer that we've worked with brands, with our usual networking event. We even had a phenomenal, I don't know if you remember Crystal, but she did a chocolate demo at the end. She showed us where the waste goes, how to put the THC labels on the back, so we were able to really have fun with it. And we're usually always planning panels, parties, speed networking, all different opportunities for people to grow and connect. So it's this time last year we were finishing up that event and then planning an event on eco-friendly business practices. And trying to highlight companies in the community that had recycling programs. And we worked so hard to not only build the event, I'm talking build a floor plan, the email campaign, all the support, all the sponsors. And then as everything got closer to launching for that event, everything with COVID got more serious by the day. So we started off, we consulted with someone in compliance to try to help make it safe. But at the end of the day, the safest call was not to host it. So we were finishing up the February event, and then we were holding off on our March event. And what was that, 15 days to stop the cure? What day are we on now?
Well, I think anyone that hosts anything, even catering, everything by my house is just shutting one after another, and it's tough. Too many months, So, but they're not allowed to really do Airbnb here. So, would Claire B&B be something different then?
I think that was her exciting spin, and her way of making it her own. But I'm sure it was still, not officially an Airbnb. It's a play on words. It was her own business.
Certainly.
But she had a building with 8 rooms in it where she would rent out each room individually. One was decorated like Beauty and the Beast. One was pink and fuzzy. One was very 70s. Each room had an energy to it, and
one
a lot
was
of
all
people
leather.
Yeah.
There we go. That's human. That's Charlie B&B.
Vegan leather.
Vegan
leather. Yeah. Well, now, okay. So on the women's project, Women's Grow. Can you explain that a little bit? Because I'm a guy. And I don't get invited. So what's up?
So actually, a lot of men and a lot of gentlemen attended our events. It's all about supporting the community. I've had male speakers. If someone is qualified to speak, it's an honor to highlight them and shine a spotlight on what they do. I see you. Hi.
I speak.
We also know the pleasure. I don't think I had the pleasure of meeting you then. But different conversations. We do connect to the female audience, and we want to empower and connect them. But if men are allies of women, they are welcome to join. We encourage it.
you have to. I would think even if you had to look further than you normally would, because that integration is what you can. It's what's showing people that it could be together, right? So all women would be like, I think wouldn't work as much because, you know what I'm saying? They want to mix, they want an integration because there's no workplace that will be all women.
Well, I think there's a time and a place for everything. There are certain things that I think that would be very powerful, and there are times that we could use that balance. I think that women have a lot to offer and men have a lot to offer. We just have to work twice as hard to get half as far. So I think it's important to help facilitate access for women in the workplace, but it's an honor to work with men. I love to find women to shine a spotlight on what they're doing. They do it with such passion and enthusiasm, and they're also very open to mentoring the next generation, which is just really exciting to be a part of and help facilitate that. And that was last year.
Is that the goal? Like, what's the ultimate goal?
For myself or for the events? Or?
Yeah, for the women's movement in cannabis.
They're going to kill off the male population and dominate.
No.
That's
I would even just say.
The reason I asked is no.
You should just be asking him directly the answers.
Right? I know.
Throw me in the loop, man. I don't know what the hell's going on. Yeah. And
world of Wonder Woman.
Let her answer the question.
Try it. Sorry.
The way that happens, the way people answer the question is when you stop talking and they speak. That's how it works here. Just, I know.
Access, we want inclusion. We want a seat at the table that we earned. We don't want to be handed anything. We just want the opportunity to earn it.
You want parity. You want equal. You don't want better. You don't want more. You want it to be so it's like it doesn't matter.
Yes, and did you guys see the numbers come out? MJ Biz, they released the numbers, the statistics for women in the workplace. And some of these percentages were in the teens, low to mid-teens.
Yeah.
Yes, still.
Yes,
and
still.
we
For
are
what?
Especially in the arts, which
positions
is
in cannabis.
surprising.
Oh, in cannabis. That's what I'm saying. We're talking about the cannabis
yes,
industry.
executive level positions.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's sad. I mean, first of all, I don't think women do have to work harder. They shouldn't have to work harder.
We
right?
shouldn't have to. I'm not
No.
saying.
To get
what
the
I mean?
same
And that
amount of
sucks.
pay.
But are you familiar with the dead song, Man Smart, Women Smarter?
Do you want to sing it to me?
Maybe later. Over a quiet on the gondola.
Well, let me ask you this, though. I mean, do you think that one of the reasons for this also is because that women hadn't been as involved in the marijuana industry before? And that's why there's so many men that have been just kind of like it's been a male-dominated thing just because.
Yeah,
I got to be honest. Growing up, I mean, I never ever in my mind would have thought, all right,
10, but
I got a joint.
I know it was low.
And it was grown by like I have a picture in my head of what the grower looks like.
Yeah.
And it's a he. It's
I
a guy.
think that starts in elementary school. Think of all your science teachers that were moving, that inspired you to change that path. How many women were truly presented with opportunities for scientific education and less home ec? I think it starts at an early level. We need to be provided not just access to these, but need to be shown strong female role models that have done these things, and that didn't exist then.
No.
I think a lot of that was access, but this is a female plant. This is a plant who's a better grower and nurturer than instinctively women.
Absolutely, and I know a lot of men, why they stay in the cultivating is because they have a chance to actually create something where they can't, So the creating is huge, I'm sure, for you guys, So I didn't know the numbers were that low, though. I know it was pretty ridiculous.
I mean, once you change
But that was like a
positions, the
year ago,
numbers
though.
shift, but it still was overall, it was hard to see.
The only place I see a lot of women is in the as the tenders out in front, or like a lot of trimmers seem to be women. That sucks. That's horrible.
I would like to think that social media is definitely helping change that, and I think you have a huge platform on social media,
Yeah.
and more people, like you said, like they're visualizing in their head a woman growing their plant because they're seeing it constantly now.
I always would envision a woman with flowers or creating, or like you said, art too. At first, you know what I mean. What is the how can I find you on this?
How you can find me?
How they can
find me. Well, you can
Because
find
I'm sure they want to. You got a really great thing there, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mary Jane of all trades. So you can find my personal account, which will connect you to everything with my first initial, my last name, R Perrick, on Instagram at RPERRICK, and then I work with Bri on lady-led collabs. You can also find Women Grow. You can find Shine Fitness, the aerial studio I work with. There are tons of ways to stay connected, but that first one is my personal one. So if you message me from there, depending on what aspect I work in that you'd like to collaborate with, we can go from there. And then for the Women Grow events that everyone has come to know and love in Las
Yes.
Vegas, we had to start RP collabs. You know, when I started these events, it was, you know, it was never just, you know, one topic, one speaker, and one food platter. It was like 40 micro sponsors and the whole community coming together to put it. There were so many moving pieces that I was thrown into the wild, and I had to get a business license, and I didn't, you know, I saw a lot of opportunities for community and collaboration instead of competition. So when I started RP Collabs, it was meant to take on a lot of specialty projects and opportunities like the photo shoot project that we did, not just the usual networking event. I get to work with some really talented chefs too. So
I think I've met a couple of them.
yes, you have. I will keep bringing them around.
Good. They're awesome.
But definitely, whether you'd like to.
What are the chefs doing that's different?
Well, what they're doing
So,
that's different.
But a lot of them
Yes, I need
a lot of
to
them are
know.
vegan, very good cooks. So they
I
have
love
all
that.
those
I'm
spectrums.
vegan.
But it's a dining experience.
Yeah, it's an experience.
Okay.
So you got the THC, CBD, whatever you want to
You
put.
have what you infuse,
Yeah.
but people who are passionate about cooking, there is just something that you can't even put your finger on that they bring to the table. It's this zest. It's this need to educate you on what they're doing too. So when I'm in the kitchen with them, I learn so much. And they just, you know, there's just so much love that they put into what they do. And right now, it's, you know, it's,
Is everybody completely twisted after dinner? Like seriously, how do you get home from this?
Well, we do have to
Like
ask.
You have to do it at home.
Right, yeah, there you go. Right.
We do have to ask if we want to touch anything on the counter. You know, you gotta watch
No
out.
kidding.
Yeah, but-
everything has to definitely be labeled for safety. But it's a different world.
Yeah,
It's
chefs,
like you eat the sponge by accident.
totally.
I thought it was.
I couldn't believe I just thought it was just. I didn't realize it was a
I like
Scotch
to believe
Brite.
energy
Nice.
transfers. You know, so
do.
good energy could retain if done properly on the food for a little bit of time, and there is that. You know,
And it's the quality too. A lot of people get some experience and they try to go out there and hustle, but you really have to do your homework. One of my favorite
man.
chefs that I work with, she studied chocolate in France. She is phenomenal chocolatier, pastry chef. People have come to her for
That's making me
the
hungry.
most unique projects. I
right.
watched her make
I
a Louis
love
Vuitton
chocolate.
birthday cake
out of chocolate.
out of chocolate,
Gotcha.
and then she actually created chocolate pieces spilling out of the top of the bag that match the branding. I mean, things that you would pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get, let alone see. I just get to be a fly on the wall as it's being made, take a few photos. You know, it's really exciting to be in the presence of true talent, and that
You
kind
Get to
of.
lick the
Oh,
beaters.
it is. It's nice, right?
Actually, yes, I do.
Ah, there you go. Now that's a kitchen perk that everybody loves.
When I'm lucky. But it's just being in the presence of that is really spectacular. And as times change with Corona, I think the future with private dining and very small, safe events is going to just continue to grow.
I agree.
Thanks for the plug. Times change.
Oh,
No, I tell you what. No, you're 100. You know,
That's how we did. Yeah.
before the pandemic started, there was already, like, in the party scene, there was already a shift towards to private venues. That's what I was involved with for the last couple of years more than anything. You know, was just doing things in private houses and taking a party there, and it, almost kind of like a catering business, but, you know, more, and like bringing like the club to the house was the idea, and we bring in all of like the sound and everything. And now it's going to keep going like that, and I'm just seeing that it was always the idea of pairing it with food. And, you know, one of the dilemmas that comes in with doing parties is a lot of times people get there and they just don't feel like eating. And you just waste a lot of money. Or they want the food way later on in the night and everything. And then, you know, you're like, what are you going to serve? You know, I mean, you like sit there and you go through all these different ideas. And with someone like what you offer, it kind of is like the solution of the problem. You know,
the food becomes the activity.
the food becomes part of the activity, and that, you know, and it just fuels other activities that are very active.
And
We like being active.
we
Oh
do.
yeah.
My friend and former partner in Europe actually has almost completed the first fully biodegradable bag that they can leave the dispensary list with their medicine.
It's beautiful. There's so much packaging that goes to waste all around, so that's really exciting.
The whole thing, you know what I mean?
Bring him to Vegas. Come on, what are we waiting
Yes.
The FBI wouldn't let him in if he tried to come back. He's a former cultivator, like myself.
for? See, you have partners.
We used to be.
Well, then it's on you. Bring the bags.
At
Come
some
on.
point. Well, listen.
Now that's
I'm trying
some
to get out of here
times
myself.
change right there.
I'm trying to get out myself. I'm not trying to bring people in. I'm trying to run. I'm scared, man. They got their game sewed up. I play to win. You can't win, right? You know. I mean, so, but tell us
What's
more.
that Leonardo DiCaprio?
You know, we're on the
movie?
air right now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Oh, what's the matter?
Nothing.
And
Catch me if you can.
Yeah, you know, for your benefit. If anything, just let you know.
You mean something that happened 20 years ago?
I have no idea.
What did I say something wrong?
No, I don't think so.
Never.
I'm just saying.
No way. I wouldn't believe it.
Then what?
No, it's just you're sitting there saying that you're getting ready to run, and you got people flying around you and everything like that.
No. All my friends fled or caught a federal case. And when my probation is over in 22 months, 3 weeks, I will be leaving as well.
Gotcha. There we go.
I've been doing a 5-year probation here. I've already offered 2 of the years. I've offered them to rescind my citizenship if they would just cut it so I can get out of here now.
Really?
Yeah. So
they don't let you do that.
No, I mean I was going to say, listen, you win. Bye.
No, they're not going to give you up. They like you.
Well, it's like it doesn't really make sense because why would you?
What's the name?
And if anyone is a new listener to this show, Charlie was convicted for marijuana, which is now legal in most states.
First-time offender, possession of marijuana. Absolutely. I got 16 years. Yep, did 15 on it.
Did you know that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know. Yep. They can keep all that. We're on to bigger and better, baby.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to raise awareness that there are still people in prison serving time in the United States for marijuana.
The federal system has 100,000, 55,000 in and 45,000 on paper alone. And 700 and I think 70 have natural life for the plant. So
and here we are in Las Vegas with big names making so much money doing all of this legally. It's beyond unfair, and it's exciting to see advocacy groups stand up and do something about it, and to see someone like yourself take the initiative to help others.
And I was going to meet with a friend of mine, Amy. I think when she's coming to Christy's house this weekend, she does a lot of work, a lot of prison projects, and I always offer to speak for them, and I'm still a very large advocate. I think that's terrible. They cross paths too much. They're not very well marketed. I felt that if the feds would just put up billboards on what they can do, there would be a lot less crimes. I mean, people just didn't know that. I
just
didn't
want
know.
transparency.
It really should. Nobody would even try. Half of the crimes they do would be retarded for the amount of time. What is worth? You know what I mean? Like, so that's what I think. I think they should just market.
So, wait a minute. No. This we need to petition the Justice Department to start a public relations campaign advising people that the things that they say are illegal, that these are the penalties, to make sure that they understand
that's right.
the gravity, because it's like people see it on TV glorified all the time and everything, and they don't really think, oh, yeah, this guy, and he goes in and out and this and that, and they get a false sense of what's going on. Then all of a sudden they...
I mean, I grew up watching Snoop Dogg and
horrible.
Everyone just smoking joints on MTV.
Right.
Yeah,
it's normal.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's hard. There's a lot of... the last 4 maximum security prisons I was in were in weed legal states, and I was released to a weed legal state. I pissed in a cup across from a dispensary.
Not only that, listen to this. Tell them about the radio.
Oh, in Colorado?
Yeah, listen to this.
Listen, they put me in a hole so long. I was in Colorado and Florence, and it takes a while when you put in a hole. It takes a while, a lot of times, to get your Walkman, which is the only thing you really want, because but it's a lifeline. You know what I mean? So after like 6 months, I got the Walkman, but then I had to wait another week because they wouldn't give me my batteries, so I had to buy them off the store. Listen, I finally get the batteries when the store guy came around. I sit down on the floor, and I was like, "Oh yeah, please, classic rock." Well, we don't know what you're gonna find, because the stations are. These places are way out in the middle of nowhere. So you get like only 1 or 2 decent stations, right? So I'm like, classic rock. Sure enough, man, the first thing that comes on, man, was a commercial, and there was a guy saying, "Come on down for $4.20 an ounce. You got it. Go with $4.20 special."
No.
How's that for in your face?
I really felt like I had to look around, like, what? I was like, fucking with me? Like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's retarded.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you serious?
True story.
It does kick you in the gut. It's weird.
Yeah.
So there's a lot like that. There's a lot of ironies. But the main problem, though, really, is even being in the cannabis industry, someone that's in our industry for a long time actually has no idea about federal laws and the fact that it's completely, totally illegal. That's the best part. When I tell them, if they ask, I will say what happened, they're like, yeah, okay. I'm like, so what? Nah, weed's legal now, man. What are you talking about?
It's not that simple.
I have to tell them to Google so they first believe that. Then I could. A lot of times I'll just walk across and be like, okay, man, good luck to you. I mean, who would want to make something like that?
And that's the way it is.
Yeah, that is the way it
Times
is.
change.
They do.
That's
They
the
do.
whole point.
And that is changing. I think every
Right?
day for the better, man.
But then it's what can you do about it? How can you use your voice to make a difference? And
Yeah.
you are.
Well, I'm trying. You know,
Keep trying.
It's hard. Yeah, thank you. I'm working on it. I'll be seeing Amy for a spot a couple days, so we'll see if that works. And I'm always available to you for the wonderful women in cannabis.
The stop, drop, and yoga on boats.
Ooh,
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah,
There you go.
yoga on boats.
No,
there you go.
Well, the thing is, she did split that like. I didn't
It's
think.
called Mermaid.
Yeah, I didn't really think the front of the front is like really small. So I was like, damn.
Well,
is that
usually there
perfect?
is a mermaid statue on the front of a boat. So
There
I
is,
mean,
there is.
So
I
it's
was just
perfect. It's a
trying-
perfect pose.
Yeah, mine's only about 10 feet and it's electric, so we don't have anything.
I mean, it's Las Vegas.
So I could have
We
fallen
have
into the water, is what he's saying.
Here we go again, but I guess your mermaid should have been a little person.
that's correct. But I am lucky. I finally found my.
Can't get away
my,
from it,
my
Jen.
mermaid. Yeah, no, you can't. No.
Can't get away from it.
But the thing is,
It's a recurring thing on this show.
It's true.
Well, it's a
Me
stand on the
and little people
And
Yeah.
boats.
that are being called by the wrong name.
if you're passing,
We gotta work on that.
Yeah, but here's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, I wouldn't even if they were on the boat, I would just put them up on the couch. So
Mermaid? It's cold in the water?
no, the midgets. I would put them on top of the couch standing, so when the boat came by, they would look almost average height, right? And they, I know the arms would be a little weird looking, but I mean, you know what I mean?
Only in Las Vegas, people.
No, I would try to
What
help a little
happens
bit.
in Vegas
Yeah.
Stays in Vegas.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
well, think about it. If he sits down, how's he even going to get a picture of the lake or anything like that? He probably can't see over the dashboard. You know what I mean? You got to help him out. Yeah.
I want to thank Rebecca so much for coming in today. This has been everything.
You are
Yes, it
wonderful.
has.
Thank you so
So
much.
amazing.
You guys rock, man. Over there. Keep
Yeah.
doing it. Keep doing
We
it.
talked about everything from aerial to
Yep.
the latest in women innovation and marijuana. I loved it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate having a chance to come on here and just remind
Wonderful.
people, to support other businesses, to support the
Absolutely.
women in your community.
And yeah, if you could just tell them one more time, like where they can find you, that'd be really cool because
Nice
they need
and
to.
slow because
Nice and
our listeners,
slow.
we don't even know what they're like that much.
Slow wins the ways.
So you can reach out to me personally on Instagram at rperrick. You can also reach out for lady-led collabs at that handle or at the website. You can reach out and then choose your level of engagement and what you'd like to work with for myself and Bri and our partnership. Just reach out to me anytime. I love to be a resource for the community. I do a lot of education, especially with Valentine's Day coming up. One of the products I work with is a cannabis lubrication product. So I go into the dispensaries and I educate on
Outstanding.
Wow,
cannabis
wow,
and every
wow.
channel in the body you can absorb it in. So lately I've been coming around and doing a lot of, education on more feminine wellness. Nobody teaches you sexual wellness when you're growing up. People tend to teach you these are the organs and this is what it's called.
Correct.
And nobody teaches you how to take care of yourself and wellness. So now that we're seeing cannabis products infuse that into people's lives, it's been really exciting.
I think in those classes though, sex ed, they used to recommend KY jelly though.
Could you get high from that stuff?
You do. So just like you can get high from a tincture, you have mucosal absorption all throughout the body. So when you
This
get
might become my new method.
you get more blood
Of
flow, moisture,
ingesting.
sensation, pleasure, and that's it's really exciting. So I've been
All right,
going
we gotta
around doing
talk.
education
Yes.
because most people don't know. We only know to walk into the dispensary and get a joint, but for Valentine's Day, now you can actually get cannabis intimacy products. So that's been a really exciting
joke.
education. But I go around to a lot of the dispensaries. One of my clients through RP Collabs is Cannabella, and I do sales and referrals. And when people order products, I come in to educate not just on our products, but the science of cannabis in general and the difference between a topical, a transdermal, a pill, a vape. What happens when you digest an edible to change that experience. So I do a lot of education all the time. And it's nice to change it up. It's nice to just be here, be real, be silly. And
It's a strange
look at
thing
what
to
we're
be
doing.
able to.
I'm usually so serious as I step into work. It's nice to just relax and laugh.
Well,
So thank you for that.
Thank you for the truth is when you start scripting things.
We can't have high-strung people in the weed industry.
No,
That's
we
just
can't.
counterproductive.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you in the weed industry anyway at that point?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head on that one. And thank you. Now I know why your
good
schedule,
at
you
that.
said, was really full. I got it now. I got it. Yeah,
Yes.
like 18
She's very
businesses.
busy.
You didn't even mention anything personal yet.
Lady
Like,
boss
or like,
things.
like a gym or anything.
No, I want to keep the door open for people to collaborate with me because right now everything is flowing with different people and different companies, but it's hard for people to put things in stone right now. So right now it's been a gift. This extra time has really been a gift to sit back and think, how do you want to spend your time? Who would you like to spend that with? I'm a lot more selective with what I'll give my attention to personally and professionally. So thank you for this. And thank you for giving me a chance to get myself out there. Please reach out to me.
Thank you so much
anytime.
for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
very
coming.
much. You're going to help a lot of people. Keep helping.
And that was Rebecca.
Yay.
Thank you.
And we're back. Times change. The only thing that changed is our guest right now.
Hello.
Hello. We've
guys.
got the wonderful Bri with us.
Yes.
And again, Jen, please tell me a little bit more about Bri.
Well, Bri is amazing. I've met her at so many events. And
Bri, we like to do this. We like to make you blush before you talk that much. All right, so hold on.
She reminds me of my little sister. She's just like filled with like this amazing energy, and everyone needs to know her. And she's always smiling and bubbly, and she knows all the cool new things that are going on.
Oh.
She's getting really mad at you right now for putting her on the spot.
Yeah, we got it. We got her to
knows.
blush.
Aw.
Mission accomplished.
Good. Oh, thank God my hands are cold. I'm pulling my cheeks. It's fine.
And,
Thank you, Jen.
yeah, like our last guest,
That was
too.
nice.
You're into, like, a lot of stuff, different things, which is, I give you guys so much credit, man. It's crazy.
Listen, you got to be a Jill of all trades.
You do.
When it comes to
Yes.
weed and in general, but that's kind of how I started. Rebecca's actually a great friend of mine, and we're very close. We've done a few projects together. We've been working together for a couple of years. We started together with Women Grow.
Which she explained a little bit about it, and we love that. That's where I know you guys from. So thanks for that, man.
Yeah, my
It's really
pleasure.
cool. Really cool.
How long have you been doing that?
So I've been in the advocacy. So I started actually as a journalist. So that I've always been a writer. I fell in love with words. That was my whole thing. I started as an advocacy journalist in college, and I was covering NORML out there. And when I moved back,
Where'd you go to school?
Ithaca College in upstate
New York.
Hey.
Love
All
NORML.
the New Yorkers.
Yeah. She was going to get
Oh,
all
my
those
goodness.
Cornell guys.
Oh my God, I hated
Oh, I
them.
hated them.
Really?
Yeah, but
And
they
those
knew me as
fraternities.
Vegas. They did. They would like drive down and be like, Vegas! And I'm like, there's only one girl in Vegas in the town. We know it's me. It's fine.
Okay. They can keep it.
It was a lot of fun. I think it was great. It's where
Ithaca,
all the stars went.
can I tell you?
Tell me.
Probably one of the 5 most drunken nights of my life was in Ithaca, New York, on 2 separate occasions.
Me too.
Wow.
I mean, yeah.
That's in the farm.
No, and
wake
listen,
up?
and that's in a long line of debauchery, but this is early 20s at
Long
college
line.
era. I had a friend that went to Cornell, and one guy lost a bet, and they had an old school urinal in this bar, and he used it.
Yeah, he did. That's nasty.
And that's not even why we got thrown out.
Oh, wow.
He lost a second bet, and he had to walk through the bar with his pants around his ankles, and he got halfway through the bar, and that's when we got thrown out.
I think that's
But
a
that's what
misdemeanor.
Ithaca does to people.
So you mean he laid down in the urinal, or
No, dude, it was like the bar was a big, huge, long pissoir. Like in the old days, the bar had the
like
pisser
a
in it.
spittoon?
Yeah, no, not a spittoon. Imagine the bar.
had that? There's a bar?
The entire bar is a big, long, huge urinal with a gutter in the bottom.
It almost looks
Absolutely,
like
dude,
how
in the
they like feed
1800s.
livestock.
that's very convenient.
Yeah,
know what it looks like.
that's why they did it. You drink beer, you just pull out your wang and just pee right at the bar.
Wow.
How convenient is
what
that?
would women have to do?
They weren't allowed in.
Oh, yes, terrible. I see. I
It was
understand.
back in the days, you know. I mean,
And that's why we have a women's advocate
and now
here
we've
today.
gotten
Yeah.
all the way to one of
Campus.
women's
That's it.
advocacy groups.
That stuff's out the
mean,
window.
Breaking the
I-
marijuana prohibition
Right.
Yes.
as we speak.
See, now I want to tell
Yes.
my story.
Tell
about
it.
Ithaca.
Please, there we go.
I had a wedding
it.
crashers moment in Ithaca.
Oh, this is going to be great.
So we, a friend of mine.
They party in Ithaca like you
Yeah,
don't know.
we
It's
do.
the cold weather.
Yeah, there's nothing else to do.
And then the
nothing
3
else
weeks
there.
in the
There's like a-
summer it's warm, they go bananas. They're like out there when it goes 38 degrees. They're out in like bikinis.
Yes, this is true.
Cow
This is true.
territory.
That
It's an
was my-
incredible mentality of
So
people.
you actually crashed a wedding.
Well, I crashed the after party because it was at a bar. So what happened was,
It was.
a girlfriend of mine convinced myself and our other friend Josh Turk, who's actually one of the first MTV's Maid stars.
Oh, man. So this is like a semi-high profile TMZ-ish kind of wedding here.
Kind
Interesting.
of. And we were hanging out with our friend and these guys from Cornell, and they were grad students in real estate school, and they were kind of just full of themselves. So Josh and I decided to just go downstairs to the bar, and we couldn't because it was closed for a wedding. Well, he's very fabulous and charming, and I'm pretty charming myself. So long story short, I have pictures with the bride. I did shots with the groomsmen, and like it was a pretty solid night.
When you crash a wedding, is that mandatory? Like, because that would be the best part, right? Because they made the list.
That's the way to do it. And they figured out that we were supposed to be there, and they were invited us in even more. It was awesome.
Really?
You know,
so cool.
it's a long line of things, right? It's like,
Nice shot.
like, I mean, yeah, nobody enjoys a wedding more than somebody who wasn't invited, right? Who enjoys a rich guy's house more than the people that go visit it? He's sitting there all mad. People are walking on his car. I paid for this. I paid for that. And everything. People are sitting like cracking bottles and everything.
No, and I didn't have to listen to Trust Fund Babies. I just got a drink with them. It was perfect.
Good for you.
Yeah, it was
Any
really fun.
progress on the crashing the funeral?
Not yet. I'll tell you. I'll keep you posted. We did. Go
Did you get their
sledding
names in
the funeral.
case one of them, you know?
Graveyards, though.
That's what you needed to do at the wedding. You need to collect everybody's names and business cards, whatever they got, and they just keep like putting in a profile in an
Yes.
algorithm that looks the obituaries. And as soon as one of them goes, you go to the funeral. Like, I can't believe it. I mean, do you remember how much fun he was at Sylvia's wedding?
I still remember when we took the photo with Fred. It feels like yesterday.
I know.
So I loved Ithaca. It is one heck of a town. It's also honestly a really educated and progressive town, and that is what I like to think that I took back with myself in Vegas, and I started writing for cannabis companies. Basically, I took those journalistic skills, and it's so funny. It's hard for me to get paid for things that I love, so they sent me to go cover an event, and the next thing I know is on the founding board of Las Vegas Normal out here. Like, it was that's just kind of how I do. I'm like, oh, let me help. Let's start something.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
They made a profile for me, Normal. I'm on there.
Oh, that's well, National.
Yeah.
Because National's they're huge. I got the opportunity to learn a lot by going to lobby days, and one of the things that I became aware of when I was in that nonprofit space, because we were still pseudo legal, so it wasn't really safe environment for in terms of where we were allowed to have parties that were like cannabis associated, and then just some of the behaviors
You
where,
were playing all of you guys, you people, everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At that time,
This is what
yeah.
all of you
I
played
was so proud of
whack-a-mole
when I
with your
got
own
out.
heads.
Keep pushing.
Basically, like, and what brought me to Women Grow was that it really felt wrong to me that I have to sacrifice my safety or state of mind because I'm advocating for patients.
That's correct.
That was like, that was really what stuck in my mind. Like, I shouldn't be in an uncomfortable situation or around behaviors that I don't want to be around because I happen to smoke weed and I happen to be an advocate. That's not acceptable.
Very unacceptable.
So that's what my mission was when Rebecca talked to me about Women Grow. I'm like, okay, cool. I want to make sure that we're affordable for patients, and I want to participate in creating these safe events for women. And it's not necessarily that it's only for women, but I noticed when women are in leadership positions, the cadence of our leadership creates a different type of environment. It creates a different type of invitation, and it creates a different level of comfort. And it was through that we were actually able to elevate people's expectations of cannabis events and the cannabis community itself. Like, yes, we can all party and have a raucous good time, but we also are supporting each other through our parents getting sick, through people getting arrested. It's a very complicated and nuanced community.
But all
we have
the
a
other
lot of
states
needs.
I've seen so far, though, I'm going to tell you, Nevada is the networking. They're so nice and friendly and everything. You know, Cali's like cutthroat and all this other stuff. So when they come here, they're like, you guys are like actually really nice. Like
That is what I've heard too, and
Yeah,
it's weird
yeah.
because I'm a Californian. Like, we're nice people, but what I didn't interact so much with the advocacy network out in California, but what I have interacted with are business owners that were basically pushed out, or not even owners, there's potential entrepreneurs, people who really had money and they wanted to put in their time that they've been giving to their community in a legitimate
absolutely.
way, and they got kicked out.
That's absolutely awful. lose any of that for an owner.
20 years, you're giving patients medicine and you're still not able to access a license. And that's actually what I'm working on now with 2 nonprofits. So
Okay.
And it's the double-edged sword too, you know what I mean? Because once you call it medicine, once you go to get licensed, once you go into this, you go into this whole world of regulation and bureaucracy and things, which I understand why it's there and to save the public, and we don't want dust mites and mold in the weed and everything. I got it. But my God, isn't it much simpler when you're just able to grow it and be like a natural healer?
And there's absolutely an argument for that, and that's what.
Oh, I'm making it.
Has been the tough thing, and that's why you have different groups trying to build, like coalition build, and try to build support and like minds across, even within cannabis groups. So, for example, one of the things I've always been passionate about is that patients should be allowed to have a certain number of plants, no matter when you have your medical card. In Nevada, that's not the case. In Nevada, your medical card has to have been issued in 2013 or prior for you to be generally able to have your own plants. And then if it's after, you have to be like 25 miles or some like ridiculous distance away from a dispensary, or you have to prove that your genetics that you need for your condition.
Right. The money came in and screwed it up.
It's
screwing it up. It's in the process of screwing it up.
But
Wow.
at least it is
Chapter.
just a fine now.
It is.
So that's really cool.
It's what now? What'd you just say?
It's
It's
a
just a
fine.
fine.
It's
It's a
yeah,
fine.
they can't
Yeah.
put you in jail anymore.
Yeah, I understand
Well,
that.
the feds
But
will, but if it's
look,
the state, yeah.
But it's
there's a lot of
growing a
things that don't
plant.
make sense, right?
Yeah.
You can't harvest your own rainwater. You're not supposed to do that,
Wow.
right? They come in and they don't want you to use solar and different things. It's all.
Well, in Nevada,
The answer to 99 out of 100 questions is
Big business.
money.
money.
Did you find that
What's the answer to the 100 question?
More money.
Love.
Money.
That's why people do stuff.
Love's number one.
That's why humans do things.
Did you find that those events were challenged due to the fact that people were partying at them too? Because if I know a lot of times if they remain strict, they couldn't have really anything to say to you. You know what I mean? But when these guys were blowing places out, smoking cannon, like there was that.
Yes. So and that's the thing is too is that when you're kind of criminalized or over penalized for little behaviors, like, okay, cool, if you're going to arrest me for taking a puff of my vape pen, that's not going to cause any, or you're going to arrest me for having an edible or being high on an edible, F you, I might as well just roll up my blunt and smoke out the joint. And that was very much, honestly, the spirit of some of those gatherings when I went to DC, and they were lobbying, like there was like a belligerence about it,
Like Hash Bash used to be in Ann Arbor.
you know, like and I get that. However, what hurts us is when we get pushed into the dark corners, right? So there's a way to party, but you can party safely and people can have a good time, and there can be, you don't have to be next to an alley with people shooting stuff up, and like, there are
You're still overcoming
things.
stigmas.
Yes.
Right? There's certain stigmas.
So
Right? There's still, you've got an entire generations, if you do it by 10 years, right? Where like the oldest generation, more solid in this belief, each one, it will become more relaxed and more actually informed is what it is.
hopefully if we educate them, and that's
You know,
another
but they
huge
still see it as, oh, it's a gateway drug. You know, they're like reefer madness is still.
yeah.
We can make fun of it as all we want, but there's still a lot of people that
A
believe
judge
that's
in South
true.
Dakota just shot down. So I'm not sure if folks know, but South Dakota did something really insane. They voted in medical and recreational weed last November. A judge just struck down the recreational order, the recreational bill. So they're going to have medical, but the judge struck down the recreational bill on some BS,
Federal. Federal. He went federal.
BS technicalities, actually, on like how the bill was written, and that it has to only serve one function.
He
at a
delayed
time.
it. He just delayed it.
They don't
At
have
the
a,
behest
all he did
of
is
the
delay
governor. So the taxpayers not only wanted it, but they paid for supporting it and for getting it struck down.
And
That's
they've
insane.
got an election coming around that they're going to have to live through that and everything, because let's face it, it's like that's a very clear-cut case of going against the will of the people.
well, they're in a lot of trouble based on the fact that we can actually research it now.
True.
So they're in trouble, a lot of trouble. But a lot of the FDA and places like that, they require 10 to 20 years of human testing. You know what I mean? So they kept all their results secret since 1941 at one college. So it was very hard. But now, I think the research is going to come. The other thing too is, so do they have a cannabis board in there already, or they just voted those two?
In South Dakota?
Yeah.
I do not know the status of their cannabis board, but I do know that the medical will is the only one that's being passed right now. So
if they didn't, if it hasn't been there medical for a long time,
the bill created, I believe, the board at the same time. So it might be something
they asked for it to be
Yeah.
formed. Yeah, totally. See, like out here, you know, they didn't form medical board after we got it approved for 7 years. A month after I was in prison, you know, took them 7 years, you know, and they didn't want to form it. But
It's
when
like
you,
our CCB out here, right? When
Yeah.
that just got
That's
done, and they just got enacted and activated, really.
and you know, Sisalak heads a board for cannabis. So where do you submit your things?
So I've been really fortunate through the Chamber of Cannabis. We've been able to start. Tyler Klimas is the executive director of the CCB, so it's the Cannabis Compliance Board.
Yes.
And so they have the unenviable job of helping fix or being charged with fixing all of the issues in our cannabis space when it comes to license transfers and other litigation situations. In addition to a lack of transparency, there's also, you know, folks who haven't been paid by owners of companies that are now being indicted by the IRS.
Well, that's-
so it's a very messy situation in Nevada.
It's very bad.
And what I do like about the CCB is that
How
Tyler
are they-
has said that he's for equity, he's for increasing transparency and accountability, and I've actually been watching the meetings with the chamber, and they're available. They schedule them preemptively. I believe the next one is like 9 a.m. on the 24th of March.
The lunches?
Or no, sorry, the 24th of February.
The biotechnology lunches, or
Oh no, this is the Cannabis Compliance Board's public meeting.
okay.
So if you're curious about what's going on in cannabis, they release. They also go through the different license issues and transfers, so you can actually, it all should be public record, and that was a huge issue we had. We didn't know who owned what, so now you're actually seeing a little bit of transparency. What I'm excited about is that they just released a report on cannabis consumption lounges, and they said that they want to see the first licenses awarded to the people that were harmed by the drug war. That is huge because
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's coming from the
I was a POW for 15 years.
that's coming
It's like I have chills with how big that is.
That's an advice,
very
or that's like the Cannabis Compliance Board is suggesting that when they open up the lounges, that they go to people who were
the lounges
hurt the most by the war on drugs during the prohibition of marijuana. Can you now wait? Now let's
Now, what
wait a
is
minute.
a
Wait a
lounge?
minute.
Okay, hold
Talk
on.
about times change right on this show right now. All right, hold on. Listen to this. We have gone literally from stand-up men-only bars that had urinals built into the bar.
Yes.
To now,
And women not allowed.
To now, right? Women not. I said women, men only. Means women not allowed,
sorry,
right?
sorry.
And then now you have the possibility of a female-owned cannabis consumption lounge who is victimized by the drug war.
Yeah, they are also probably going to be a felon that owns it, so that'll be huge too as well. Because if they
Hopefully.
were,
So that's actually something else we have to address. So what happened in the last during the last passing of the law?
This is awesome.
We voted in to seal records. So we were like, yeah, you should not be you should allow to be a beneficiary of the cannabis space if you're a felon or if you have a nonviolent cannabis crime. Like, you should have that record sealed, and you should be able to have an agent card, which is how we're able to be employed in the industry. You should be able to be on a license. So we voted this in. The voters are absolutely we're on the side of ending prohibition, but we didn't provide a mechanism for this to happen through the legislature. So
Groups
we have to
should speak with power.
So we have to fund the effort in order for there to be a special meeting for records to be sealed because of how the process works in our state. So another thing I'm excited
It's
to do.
still
is try to
Las
fund
Vegas,
that.
no matter how good it looks.
I don't care. I'm so.
We still run things a certain
Pretty
way
nice.
out here.
True.
The mayor of Northtown is.
I'm just, and you know, and that's
Yes, she
one of
is.
the reasons why things are so effective.
Effective wink.
She gave 2 buildings downtown in Northtown to my friend does puff and paint. Yeah, small customer. She gave she's anything that's not good. She's trying to get it zoned for consumption, or cultivation. Sorry.
And North Las Vegas was one of the only places, because we had a moratorium. They put a moratorium on in 2019. North Las Vegas was the one that was really progressive about how their approach to it, and they asserted their ability to to create their own lounge should they choose. It just never panned out. But the approach from that part of the city has been super progressive, which is what you want.
He wants to be the first. He wants the notoriety.
And you
of
got
that.
you were instrumental in getting some of this done, huh?
I help. I'm the communications director.
Come on, you
for
more
the
than hell.
Hold on, let her go here. All of our guests are modest except for Charles.
Now, I never got my question
Not
answered.
you, Charles,
So
the
will the
other
lounge
Charles.
just be for
Charlie
smoking,
Wonka.
or will it be edibles as well?
So there's two types. So one's going
Okay.
to be adjacent to a dispensary. So basically, you're giving the dispensaries. There's a lot of dispensaries that they have land. They bought buildings. There's this expectation of, well, we want lounges. So you're going to have those. I'm advocating that those dispensary adjacent ones also have patient testing rooms, so you can actually be like a consultant and come in
Correct.
and literally guide someone through. Because if you're a dispensary and that's what the purpose is, it shouldn't be any skin off of your back to have one room where you're not making hand over fist money and you're actually providing it as an appointment center for people to be healed and to get real advice, right? So I think that's absolutely imperative. And then the permissive use will be.
And that's also good.
You can
That's just
smoke
a
or
good PR move on your point, where it's like you're covering all your bases on, like, you're doing your what it is that's the give back. So it's not just a money endeavor. So when people are going to come in like, oh, you're going to come in my neighborhood and make a lot of money selling weed.
Well, and the thing is I want the part of the taxes and the application fees to actually go back into a fund that we can use as a grant program
going
to
for schools,
provide education and like legacy building resources to our communities.
They are.
We need that.
They're doing very
Man,
well.
I just want to say, I bet the first time you meet these people, they're like, oh, she's so nice. And then the second, I'm like, oh, here she comes. Like, by the time you come, like, oh, man, we're not getting out of this.
Oh, yeah, I get the glaze.
We're giving, I see it, man. I see it. I bet you got them shaking in their shoes the minute you ring the bell.
I hope it's all with positivity though, because I'm a solution bringer. I'm not oriented around. I mean, I think it's great to recognize when something's wrong because that's how you start to fix it.
Persistence is excellence.
I'm gonna push. That's been my big metaphor for quarantine too. Is just pushing like in a little circle. You don't always get that mile that you want in one direction, but you can inch towards your goals.
In New York, they do shove.
Yeah.
And then kick them.
Yeah. You want to hear?
That's tomorrow.
Excellent.
Tell me the things. I heard this years ago, right? It's like, what's the difference between like New York and like the West Coast, California, that is, for instance, right? It's like in California, people are like, I'm here and I'm going to do my thing. And in New York, people are like, I'm here and I'm going to do my thing. And I'm going to do it all over you and you and you and you.
And I'll take whatever I want. So how many states now have, is there 2 now that have the recreational places to use? I think.
There might even be 3. There's Colorado for sure,
Oregon.
California, and Oregon.
3, yeah.
So
Okay.
3. And then I thought you were going to talk about how many. So we have 46 states that have medical and recreational legal marijuana markets. The reason why I bring that up is that all of them have failed in providing any means of reparations to communities of color and to convicts of cannabis for cannabis crimes. So that's a huge failure.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to raise awareness for that on this show.
Yeah, well,
Big time.
My only point is that I get like people are frustrated, and so one of the best things that I do as the communications director is I tell them, yes, our cannabis industry has failed you, absolutely, and we're working to make that better. And part of the reason why the industry failed you is because there weren't enough of the right people at the table. There weren't enough people who were actually intimately aware of what this plant needs in terms of regulation, but what our community needs in terms of fixing the harms that have been done to it. So that's the first step, is you have to admit, hey, I love weed just as much as everybody. I'm in legal weed. But it hasn't worked for everybody. It hasn't fulfilled the promise, and I'm here to make the promise.
Do you think it's creating or continuing like the black market industry and everything like that to keep going?
Anecdotally, I absolutely know that the taxes and it's a hindrance on patients, and you have to understand a veteran cannot get his medicine
Nope.
if it's cannabis paid for.
Because they're federal.
So cannabis is really expensive. A lot of
You know, I
people, their
never even
pharmaceuticals
dawned
are
on me. I
covered.
see so much of this is geared towards veterans, PTSD, or you know, anything else ailment they might have, but really that's what they focus
They
on.
have to be
It
in
never-
a
it
test
never
group
occurred to
to
me. I
be approved for it.
There's one bank in our whole city.
Wait, what's that, Jen?
that
They
banks
have
for
to
all
be
every
in a
dispensary.
test group. There are some veterans that are in like
they gotta be like a guinea pig
controlled
kind of a thing?
government test group. Yeah,
Which means they could be smoking.
But not-
just
it's
bunk.
not
It could be a
available to
control where, like,
everyone,
here's
yeah.
your-
Well, it's not. It's also not always the medicine that they need, because as we're learning that there's different extraction methods, there's different cannabinoids, there's different types of therapeutic profiles that
Right.
they don't get because of how what their access point is, right?
Our other guest, Eddie Crocker, said he's not allowed to make anything that would help. He has to exceed the amount for, for these people in order to, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then by default, he's making himself a criminal too. It's insane.
Yes, but he also gives it away to them. So he has 65 patients around the country that he mails. He just asks them for postage,
Good.
and he creates their medicine for them. But yeah, I mean, he told us,
But
so-
he's still risking, dude. That's not a
It's risky.
fail-safe.
No,
Just
no.
because you give
No,
it
not
away
fail-safe.
doesn't mean it's like, oh, you gave it
Also,
away. You didn't make
the
money on
cops
it. So
don't
now
know what they're looking for. I have
Yeah,
tons
yeah.
of friends who are hemp farmers. Every other
That's what they
friend
told
of
me,
mine
yeah.
stopped in Kansas, got his entire car taken. Right? He had the COAs. Everything was above board. It was CBD. It was hemp flower. But they don't know what they're looking for, and they hate weed.
They told
in
me they
Kansas.
don't. Yeah, they told me they don't. I got a job to run a 55-acre hemp farm in Perrick. Huge salary, set up all the. So I'm like, yeah. So I turned the contract into my probation officer. He's like, listen, this is illegal. I said, no, it's not. It's not. It's not cannabis. Not THC. It's not. And she went, okay, but look, if we come to your job and we see even anything that looks like a cannabis plant, you can work that out with the judge in 18 months. Because you're stuck. You won't see the federal judge before 18 months if you're violated. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Then you can plead your case, and then he'll give you time.
Are
based
you
on your
kidding?
discretion.
A year and a half.
Well, it's sometimes it's more. A year and a half, you get on their docket. They do it fast once you're on their docket.
That's just because it's so backlogged and everything? Or I mean, how
No,
does that happen?
Because they're trying.
Or they
to,
just
they're trying
decide
to.
to do
They
it.
think
That's
that'll
how they're
slow
putting the
down.
screws
It's
to
a
you?
chilling of your rights, essentially. Because what
Very bad.
happens is you have an 18-month period where you don't know when your freedom is going to be taken away from you or when you're going to return free. So my stepfather, he had a court case that they kept pushing it back, and he was technically a ward of the state, but because they weren't housing him, he just was monitored all the time, and it was like 36 months.
But
Like, you're supposed to go in, start your time. You're supposed to go in. So it was a white collar crime, but like there's
See,
But a building developer can call eminent domain and take a lady to quick claims court and knock down her house in weeks.
yes, absolutely.
I did 25 months.
It's fair.
In county jails.
I can see that.
And and there's guys that are doing even more, But the thing is, they claim that they might slow down recidivism is if there's more of a penalty. Or see, knowing you're not going to see the judge,
That
you're hit.
increases recidivism because
What they
you're increasing
actually-
the parameters of it, right?
Well, I'm going to tell you what, they increase recidivism. What they do to us when we get out. I'm lucky. I have good friends, a strong family. I was comfortable. Otherwise, no, get out of here, man. There's no way you can hold like a normal job or something. You can't. You're in 3 classes a week. These places, you're doing 5 piss tests a week. Like every day, it's something. How do you tell your boss, yo, sorry, dude?
Yeah, that's a chilling of your rights. That's
Absolutely. There
The
were
point.
people-
It's like you
yeah.
literally are crippled.
It really is. The guys are walking in, putting their kids' pictures on the phone, and saying, "Look, you're taking me from. I'm trying to put food on the table for my kids tonight, man. This guy's probably gonna fire me now because I have to come for this 2-hour class." So it was very terrible. That's what does the
Yeah,
recidivism.
no, that's
But what they said was, and I'm not defending. I'm saying that's what they say. That everyone knows you have an initial penalty because if you're violated, you have to do 18 months anyway. Nobody can get under that. So then after that, they look at the case. It's terrible, yeah.
Well, you also look at the type of prisoner. Like, you're not. This isn't helping anybody. This
No,
isn't. This
no.
isn't stopping crime. This isn't.
It's not the rehabilitation that it's
Exactly.
claimed that it's supposed to be. You're not
No.
rehabilitating
Exactly.
anybody.
Absolutely.
You're demoralizing.
Crushing.
Precisely.
Just
And
crushing.
yeah, that's actually, it speaks to what I'm doing with the community, Cannabis Equity and Inclusion community, and they are a nonprofit started in 2020. or 2019, I apologize, and I just recently came on board, and they are sponsoring a juvenile reform bill. It's called BDR 360, and essentially what we're trying to do is create a different set of recommendations for youth when they're caught with cannabis. So right now,
Awesome.
a disgusting majority of the youth that are referred to juvenile detention are brown and black, basically. It's something like 77%. And what happens is we refer to juvenile detention. So if a kid gets caught, he gets referred to.
Now, do you think they get caught because they get caught? They get caught because
when
they get caught,
then when they are caught, they receive a harsher set of referrals. So
Right.
instead of referring to like counseling, they refer them actually to detention.
Yeah.
And so what we're pushing to do with this bill is to shift that language so that when you are caught with cannabis as a youth, as a minor, you go to school to learn about why that might be harmful, and then you do some community service, so you're not immediately going into the system.
What happens
Great, man.
what happens if a minor gets caught with a 6-pack of beer?
Okay, so it is the
Right.
same law. The same law that is a reason for referrals actually applies to the 6-packs, and it is not the same percentage. It's almost universally cannabis, and that's why we're looking at cannabis specific.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like,
kid with
cops
cigarettes,
find
a
kids
kid
with a
with
6-pack,
booze, they don't care.
Right, cop finds kids with a 6-pack, take the 6-pack, go home.
Exactly.
Cop finds kids with a joint, get in the car.
With intent to sell, which is also
Oh,
Yeah.
really? They automatically throw that in there because I
for
have a
our
joint in a
Hispanic
bag or
youth,
something?
It's like 60 some odd percent.
Right.
I
Right.
burst into tears when I read the stat. I was like, no, this is so sad. Because I mean, it's like you see your little brother, you see your little sister.
Yeah.
My siblings are
Those
18.
are directives that come right from the top. I don't care what they say.
Yeah,
I believe
it's very
that.
troubling. Again, the amazing thing is we do have a lot of coalition support, so we're hoping to get that passed. If anybody is curious, ceicnv.org for the youth.
What was that one?
ceicnv.org. So you can keep in touch with us there. Our meetings are the first Tuesday of every month. And also the chamberofcannabis.org for cannabis consumption lounge reform. And our meetings are actually the second Thursday of the month. So it's going to be today at 5 p.m. on Zoom.
Oh.
If anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm at Bri Saves the World
Well,
on
they won't get that,
Instagram.
but-
I know they won't. But
Really?
I just
Baby
want to do
steps.
my best. Baby steps. Push,
Oh,
push,
you are.
push.
Bree?
We actually forgot to ask Bri our famous
Oh,
question.
yeah.
What were
We've
you
been doing
doing
some- yeah.
1 year ago?
Oh God, it's very similar to Rebecca. Rebecca and I actually threw an event at this really amazing miniature apartment complex. And yes, here in downtown, and each little apartment, each little condo had a different style. So there's like a Beauty and the Beast one, a super retro one.
Oh, yeah.
So I was planning a weed event, guys.
Hell yeah.
I was getting high and planning weed events.
Amazing.
Good for you.
Hopefully one day soon.
If you need a speaker at any time or some help with anything, please let me know. Call upon
Yes,
me.
I
Love to.
Bree, we
Yes.
want to know what you're up to. We're going to have Bree come back and
Please.
like, give us an
Yes.
update and everything like that.
Absolutely.
And
I'd
we're
love
not
to.
going to be like those people you know that you go after in these compliance boards and stuff. We're going to be like very happy to see you walk in the door.
I don't come after people
All right.
until they come after my people.
Well, that's
So
the
there we
thing.
go.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Mess with me is one thing, but mess with my own. Oh, boy.
Listen, we got to stick together.
Well, I tell you what, the unfortunate part is this. We've got that little sound coming up here now.
Ooh, and thank you again.
We're gonna have to
very
take
much.
off.
Were you able to tell them about everything? Plug it?
Yes. Please follow us, the Chamber of Cannabis, Bri Saves the World, CEICNV. Stay strong, stay high, and I'll catch up with you guys soon. This was amazing. Thanks for having me.
And everybody
Thank
else.
you.
Keep going, man.
I'm gonna.
Wow.
And everybody else, stick around or stay tuned next time, I guess it is, because that's it for now, right?
If you say so, sir.
I'm telling you, they're telling us we have to leave. Our
Oh.
time is up.
I never pay attention to the time. I have such a good time with you guys. I don't even look.
It's always
Really?
high time.
Now that's something I didn't know, because let me tell you, talk about punctual.
Oh, I'm very
With a
punctual.
capital P, all
No,
capital letters.
I'm very punctual.
Right?
You know that.
Exactly. The most
Punctually
punctual
15
there
to 30
is.
minutes late every time I go somewhere. Punctually late.
That's California time. That's what happens.
Yeah, that's the way you run
No
it.
call, no show. Right? Yeah.
This has been Times Change.